Okay, time for an update on the Nazca Mummies. That's right, there's a lot shaking in the world of the Nazca Mummies, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, so let's start off with this image. All right, now this was shared by Jaime Maussan and some other people, including Marianella Eliaga, I said that right, which appears to be the same being, maybe even the same image as that shared by the Mexican official the other day. I shared that with you on Sunday, and he immediately removed the tweet. And by the way, I was wrong about him being a Mexican congressman. He is referred to as a Mexican official. Here is an article from the mirror.co.uk. In a new update, a Mexican official has made another eyebrow-raising claim. What's inside the alien creatures, talking about the eggs. And that might be him, J. Alberto. I'm not sure. The man known only as J. Alberto, and I don't understand that. If he's an official, he should have a known name. So I'm skeptical of this man's identity, and you know, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, he claims to be an assistant to two government secretaries in Mexico, reports the Daily Star. He took to social media site X. When am I going to call it X? I don't know. Twitter, to share a video of one of the aliens in a glass case, and wrote, "Half of the U.S. came to CDMX to capture this biological evidence. Nazca with 3 reproduction eggs, based on 13 scientific testimonies before Congress of Mexico." The Congress. It does not belong to the evolutionary chain of the Earth. And I've talked a lot about the eggs, and I really can't wait to find out more details about the eggs. When will they be analyzed? I want it to be the best lab known to the planet. It needs to be we don't want to, because, you know, to analyze these things properly, often you have to damage them. And so if it's going to be damaged in the pursuit of understanding what they are, it needs to be, you know, with the maximum benefit, right? So with the best possible lab. But to wrap up that thought, this being shared by the supposed Mexican official is indeed a Nazca mummy. Now, this picture, I don't know if it's artificially brightened or not, but it looks much brighter and different from the original image I shared with you on Sunday, which might actually be the same picture, just darkened or modified somewhat, or else this is the lightened version of that image. I'm not sure which one it is. Information is not what it could be on all of this. I would love 1,000 times more info than we have. But this is what I'm seeing at the moment, and if I can find more information, of course I'll share it with you guys. And if you see it before I do, let me know. But yeah, this being is one of the Nazca mummies. Meanwhile, here is a specialist in forensic science in what he has to say about the Nazca beings.
In collaboration with the biologist Jose de la Cruz Rios, and based on the results of various scientific evidence, such as X-rays, computed tomography, 3-dimensional reconstructions, macroscopic and microscopic analyses, carbon-14 histology, forensic anthropology, comparative anatomy, and DNA, which is the queen of evidence in forensic sciences for comparison studies, I can affirm that these bodies are not related to human beings. For this purpose, I will begin with the description of the images that we will be observing below. They are bodies approximately 60 centimeters long, covered with a white powder that, through electron microscopy, we identify as diatom powder, which allows the desiccation of the bodies, as well as the absence of the generation of bacteria, fungi, and cadaveric fauna. The presence of this dust allows the perfect conservation by desiccation of these bodies, causing a natural conservation process over time, which we were able to calculate by applying the carbon-14 test. which indicated and gave an average of 1,000 years old. This makes the place where these bodies were found an ideal place for their conservation and preservation by whoever or those who deposited them at this site in Peru.
All right, very interesting. More science being done on these things. Meanwhile, here's a fun theory. Check this out. These are ancient structures or ruins in Mexico. These tiny little tombs or houses. And, we don't know what they are or who they were for. Are they for dwarves? Are they for spirits or something like that? Or are they, of course, for the beings? Now, this is Mexico, and we do know that at least one body related to the Nazca beings has been found in Mexico. I believe that's the one with the wing-like appendages on the back. But check that out, guys. Crazy, tiny tombs in Mexico. What are these things for? Who occupied them? If anybody. But I do think they were probably built with a purpose. I don't know if the Nazca beings or something similar to that occupied them. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Fascinating stuff. Meanwhile, check this out. According to Gonzalo Chavez, glad to see the Nazca Mummy's researchers are now planning legal action against Flavio Estrada in the Ministry of Culture for their disinformation campaign. And this, of course, is about the, seizing those two obvious dolls and then debunking them as dolls. Clearly, those were dolls, and they didn't look like the Nazca mummies, particularly. They were very crude copies of the Nazca, the beings. And, so it looks like researchers might actually be planning legal action against that scientist in the Ministry of Culture of Peru. Their press conference on Friday may backfire tremendously through the legal system. So, I sure hope that is true. The farce of the Ministry of Culture made with crafts, they are going to pay dearly in court, I assure you. They will have to demonstrate their reckless conference on Friday. So a little bit lost in translation there. But basically, the researchers are fighting back against the disinformation campaign by the Ministry of Culture. I love it. Meanwhile, from no less than MSN.com, check this out. Peruvian alien mummies confirmed to be inhuman. What? From MSN? 2 months have passed since the unprecedented display of inhuman bodies claimed to be ETs were presented in a glass case to Mexican politicians in Mexico City's Congress. Recently, another hearing was held by Mexico's Congress where researchers testified to the authenticity of the mummies with 3 fingers, suggesting they could be evidence of non-human life forms. The article goes on talking about some of the debunking claims by the Ministry of Culture of Peru, but then it gives the counter debunk. Now, I'm reading this more closely now. Is this a repost from the Jerusalem Post? So maybe this was originally posted by Jerusalem and MSN is simply republishing this, because that happens a lot, or my understanding is that happens. But either way, they are reposting this. Really intriguing article showing both sides of the mummy debate. Now, would they have posted that today after the disinformation campaign carried out by the Ministry of Culture of Peru? Because they've really muddied the waters and really tainted in many people's minds the study of the mummies. So, which of course was by design, I'm sure. So I worry that we wouldn't get this fair look, an examination of the Nazca beings now, but maybe we would. Let me know what you guys think. Meanwhile, if you want to study the DNA of the mummies, go to the National Library of Medicine. Go to these 3 places, and you can study the mummies to your heart's content, and I'll provide the links in the comments below, in the description below. So who are the researchers that have done the actual investigations into the Nazca mummies? Well, I showed a long list of scientists and doctors that have looked at these specimens in the last update I did on the Nazca beings. And that list was provided to me as an attachment in an email. And because multiple people have been asking about that. And it's not, as far as I know, available as on a website or anything. And I need to go and refine that attachment. So the viewer that sent it to me, if you could send it to me again, maybe I could try to make that available somewhere. But if that is something that can be made publicly available. But let's just go over a couple of the names that we know. This is Jose Benitez, former naval surgeon with 300 plus bodies examined in his career. He has been there from the start of the investigation into the mummies, determining with all the evidence gathered that these small bodies are authentic. I love it. Seems like a very credible guy. Here's his credentials, his educational background, master's degree in forensic medicine from the Military School of Health, graduates of the Mexican Army, specialization in national security intelligence from the prestigious National Institute of Public Academy or Administration, diploma in aerospace medicine, awarded by the Mexican Air Force under the Ministry of National Defense, etc. Professional achievements regarding the body as a whole. I want to show that there is no evidence that they, excuse me, let me start over. Getting a little cold here, sorry. I want to show that there is no evidence that they should have been artificially reconstructed or created, because the body has a natural development as a single individual. It is a biological specimen with functional anatomy and natural form features. This anatomy and feature is very concrete and specific, making falsification very unlikely. There is a harmonious and functional relationship in the process of gestation, I insist, corroborating the originality and natural biology of this specimen. Regarding the head, the skull is only one piece, although it has sutures as already reported. The sutures are the various bone unions that make up the skull, but it is one piece, which means that it was not cut, was not built, was not made from other pieces already existing, and that it has a single origin. In conclusion, this determines the validity and the fact that this is a new and unknown species organism from a unique evolutionary biological origin and distinct from what has been described or known in the human species or any other. So, yeah, there you go. Very credible guy. Very credible guy. Let's see. Where are we going? We're going over here. So NASA's Culture of Ministry is telling us that a grave robber cobbled together a doll. And, cobbling together a doll is one thing if it were one doll, but there's over 20 of the small beings, to my understanding, and then there are others like Maria, the human-sized ones, and also the giants. We only have their hands, and there's various other specimens as well, like the being recovered from Mexico that appears to have those wing-like appendages. But, for those people saying, well, it's only, Mexican and South American doctors and scientists that have looked at this, and we need some Western people on that. Well, there have been multiple Western people on that, in addition, people from Japan that have looked at them. And I've gone over some of those people before, and I read you the list of names. There's also Russian doctors and scientists. Here's one person from the U.S. She's a radiologist. So there are 40 plus doctors and scientists from around the world that believe these beings to be authentic. And this is a video of her that I've played before, going over the x-rays of the beings. Here are her credentials. Mary Jessie, MD, Associate Professor of Radiology. I really like her because she went to UT. I'm a Longhorn. I went to the University of Texas. And that looks like that maybe where she got her medical degree from. Yeah, well, internship is the University of Texas Southwest Medical School in Austin. Medical School, MD, University of Texas, Medical Branch School of Medicine. Love it. Love it. Yeah, go Longhorns. So there you go. There you go. So I've gone over, again, a long list of people that have studied these specimens and authenticated them. It's how would it make sense for these to be cobbled together dolls? Over 20 of them, really, for what purpose? For what purpose? And if they're not selling them, on the black market where they can make a lot more money. These actually found their way into the accessibility of scientists anyway. Now, some of them have been sold on the black market. I suspect more of them have been sold on the black market than have been made available to scientists, very unfortunately, including some really intriguing pieces, like the bits of armor that one being was wearing, as well as that being himself. A couple of the pieces of technology, as far as I know, have escaped science and are now in the hands of private collectors. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe those private collectors will open their specimens up to scrutiny at some point. That would be amazing. But in any case, a lot of these are accessible to scientists. I don't see how doing that furthers any hoaxer's agenda. Again, over 20 of them, multiple of these been studied by over 40 doctors and scientists from around the world, authenticating them. Yeah, so you could say maybe there is some sort of sophisticated disinformation campaign, some very elaborate disinformation campaign to create these bodies. But there's a few problems with that. A hoaxer isn't going to put up a bunch of bodies that could be studied, not just one body, but 20. If this was a disinformation campaign, you wouldn't open it up to study so it could be scientifically debunked, which it would in time if this was BS. Also, these beings are appearing in the textiles and artwork of the Nazca people and other peoples from around the world way back in the day. So these were beings, depicted by the locals because the locals seem to have been interacting with living beings that they were incorporating into their art. So I'm not seeing how this could possibly be faked. My mind is open on it. I'm not seeing how that makes any sense at all. But there you go. There's a Nazca news update. So let me know what you think about all this craziness in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. Facebook and Twitter links are below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, grab a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store or become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel. I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.